tomorrow. But Haydad was at Jeff Lebby's today, and more importantly, they released a depth chart. Ole Miss did not. Southern Miss did not. Mississippi State did. Let's start with quick. What did you hear from Jeff Lebby? Did anything stand out to you? And then we'll look at this depth chart.
We've talked to Lebby a couple times this offseason, and I get the feeling he's much more confident about his team than he was a year ago, especially on the defensive side of the ball. From a depth perspective, he feels a lot better about those guys over there. I think he has total confidence in his quarterback. He likes his skill position guys. Going back to the spring, his biggest questions have been on the offensive line. And coming into the day, I think some of those questions still exist, which, can be a problem for Mississippi State because offensive line issues killed them a season ago.
Yeah.
They took forever to start to gel. By the time they could gel, their starting quarterback was out. And they had to kind of just wing it the rest of the year. They're still trying to figure some things out there on the offensive line, which is not a great place to be, I think, 5 days away from the start of the season.
Let's look at that right now. Now, with the understanding that depth charts released by the school are not always exactly how they do it. So, some of them, as you mentioned, Southern Miss, the little gamesmanship there, didn't release one at all. And some of them, like Auburn, for example, I'm not picking on Auburn. People do this everywhere. Every defensive starter had an or.
Yeah.
All of them. Yeah. I mean, so what are we doing? So with that being the context, on the offensive line for Mississippi State, 3 starters have an or. So you're looking at left guard, Jacoby Jackson or Luke Work.
Right.
Center, Cannon Boone or Brendan Smith.
Right.
Right guard, Zach Owens or Trevor Mayberry. 3 ors on the offensive line.
I think the guys listed first on all of those will end up being the starters. Jacoby Jackson, Cannon Boone, and Zach Flapjack Owens.
Flapjack Owens. They need to fix that on the depth chart.
I agree that you got some of these guys who have their names on here, like Fat Forrest and DJ Reed.
Fat Forrest.
That's his name.
I'm sorry. Fat Forrest.
Flapjack McGee needs to be his. I'm sorry, McGee. Flapjack Owens needs to be. Where did McGee?
That sounded like an insult. Just all right, Flapjack.
Well, it's like Slappy McGee. You know? So yeah, Flapjack Owens needs to have Flapjack on the list. The ors aren't the interesting thing for me on the offensive side. Obviously, it's that senior Albert Reese is listed as the starting left tackle now. I like Albert Reese, and I think he can be a really good interior offensive lineman. You could play him at either guard position. If they wanted to put him at center, and if he had been practicing there, I think he'd be okay. He struggled at right tackle a season ago. Struggled with pass protection. The idea that he's protecting the blind side of Blake Shapen is not a confidence-inspiring
So you mentioned the fans freaking out. Is that the center of it? Because I even asked you off air. I was like, hey, is that something that people should be concerned about?
That's one of the 2 or 3 that stand out that you're just like, especially because there's no or. Like that's your starting left tackle. Now, Lebby said in the press conference today that they expect to rotate guys there. I would say that's an awful idea.
That's even more concerning. That not only
I would rather hear you're going to rotate quarterbacks than rotate left tackles.
Yeah,
like that's where you just got to have your guy and he's there. But I guess they just don't feel confident enough in Jimothy Lewis to just go ahead and hand him the job. So I'm interested to see how that rotation works. But if I'm Southern Mississippi, I'm looking at that and going, we're going to blitz off that left side.
And then over on the right side, what do we need to know about that? Blake Steen listed as the starter without an or.
Yeah, that's a guy that, from the moment he committed to Mississippi State, you could kind of pencil him into the starting lineup. Has plenty of power football experience previously coming from Virginia. Thought he might get a shot at that left tackle, to be honest with you, but they've got him at right tackle. They obviously feel very secure about that, and he will be the starter there, I think, probably all season barring injury.
Looking at the rest of this, there's a lot of ors, but it looks like offensively, aside from that, they're pretty set. Traore set as tight end, no or there. At the slot, Anthony Evans, no or.
Yeah.
At one wide receiver spot, Mosley, no or. But the or exists with Aiden Williams and McGee. Are you – because I had a friend text me. It was like Aiden Williams didn't win the starting job at State. Does that mean anything?
I think Mosley being a senior – just he has some experience. They're going to put him out there. They'll rotate those guys, though, and whoever ends up being the best of that group will get the majority of the snaps.
Brandon Thompson, of course, the other starter at wide receiver.
McGee had a really good camp from all indications. Really, really, I know Chad Bumpus is very high on him. So we'll have to see how that all pans out. I would like to see McGee or Williams win that job because they're bigger receivers, 6'3".
Yeah.
You look at State's starting receivers right now, 5'9", 6 foot, 5'11". You like to have maybe another guy out there who give you a little bit more size to go with Traore as far as red zone targets go.
And your tight end's only 6'4". I say only. He's a big dude, but 6'4", 230.
Yeah, he's more of a big receiver than he is a tight end. That's why they went out in the transfer portal and brought in Sam West and Max Reese to give them some more blocking options at the tight end position.
And then running back, there's an Orr, but that's fine. They're both
Booth and Bothwell will be fine right there. Defensively, now that's where we're going to have some questions here, because a lot of your transfer guys that you thought were going to be starters are their oars or their second-team guys. You look at the defensive tackle position, Kedrick Bentley-Jones, DJ Reed, Ashton Shepard being on the depth chart to me is a surprise. I mean, I didn't have any expectations for him. Jamil Burrows is a guy that we've talked about a lot that thought he was going to be a big player for State. He's listed as the third defensive tackle behind Jere Bledsoe and Calvin Dinkins. Dinkins is a guy who just can't stay healthy, so I'm interested to see how that works out. And then at the defensive end position, I think there's 5 defensive ends listed. I think that this might be a function of when they go 4-man front, this is what you have there. But seeing Trevion Williams not as a starter is disappointing. I mean, we're 4 years into this with Trevion Williams. I just don't know that the light's ever going to really come on there.
Should I be surprised about Red Hibbler as well, listed as the fourth defensive end?
That's a little surprising. And then you look at the linebackers. Zachary Tillman, no surprise there. Isaac Smith, now really a linebacker. What's interesting is when you look at that Sam position, all 3 of those guys played safety a year ago. Isaac Smith, Tyler Woodard, Tony Mitchell was at EMCC a year ago as a safety. Now they're listed as a linebacker.
So it looks like they're, altering things defensively then.
Yeah, it's more of a 4-2-5. Yeah.
I guess we knew that, but seeing it in print is a little bit different.
Nick Mitchell being the starter at Mike is very surprising to me. I thought that would be Jalen Smith's job. But he's listed as an or with the aforementioned Fat Forest.
Forest.
Yeah. So that's a little surprising there. No surprise at corner with Jet Jefferson and Kelly Jones. Also, Hunter Washington still listed as a starter. I thought Jerron Manning would have grabbed hold of that job. Manning is listed as an or at the as a starter for both safety positions. So I expect him to play a lot. But basically what we're looking at is this. We have to ask ourselves, are they just doing some, hey, we're going to start the seniors' first game? I get that, but at the same time, you were 2-10 a year ago.
Or even maybe motivating one of these guys.
They had a great camp. Okay, I guess I get it. But at the same time, you were 2-10 a year ago. Just play your best players.
Yeah.
There's no need to overthink some things here. And if Nick Mitchell has beaten out Jalen Smith, then I feel like this is going to be a long year because I know what Nick Mitchell is, and I've seen him play. And I think he plays really hard. But, he's not as talented as you want an SEC middle linebacker to be.
Right.
So there's some question marks here. So, yeah, by and large, this depth chart, when it came out.
Of course, with the context being that it's a depth chart that they released, there could be some stuff happening.
It could be totally different when we get to Saturday. I will say this, though. I would be surprised if it's too different. Yeah. If you tell me that, Nick
Jeff Lebby doesn't strike me as a guy that likes to play games with stuff like that.
Well, I don't know. That's not so much playing games as this is the depth chart.
Yeah.
So
somebody on the text line asking if we still hate Hutzler. We do not hate Hutzler.
Why would I hate him? I don't. Never done anything to me personally.
Haydad was highly critical of possibly the worst defense in SEC football history last year.
Yeah.
The man gave Haydad his time, was really good with it, really nice guy.
Yeah. Completely professional.
People in the business talk highly of him.
But he didn't have a good year last year.
Didn't have a good year last year. And he's got